FM eSports if they do hit their straps in quite the same way as we saw last time out. So this is going to be interesting, and there's a lot of dynamic riding on this one, and maybe this will give us a bit more of a closer encounter than we saw first time out.
Yeah, no, it could definitely be interesting, although coming into today, if you had have asked me about it, there's a good chance I would have said that actually I was expecting it to be sort of less close than the other matchup, because obviously those two are the middle seeds of the four. These two are top and bottom, aren't they? I think Reason's seeded fourth at the moment, and
Correct,
FM are coming top with, let's try and wrap my brains, 8 maps on?
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
So they've been doing really well recently, and I don't know. It's just, well, it sort of has to be closer now. I can't imagine that it won't be. It's just a little bit shocking.
That this has been the game where we don't expect to see a team run away with it as such. Yeah, it's an interesting point, and we're going to be squaring off on Overpass now, and it's a bit of an interesting map as to how this one pans out. On CT side, something you've got to be careful of is that you can get yourself trapped onto these sites, so they've got to make sure that they play that well when it comes down to retakes. Also, this mid-control, the area that Soms at the moment, around about those toilets, could also be a key area. Do you want to put an AWP in there and challenge? Do you want to let them have that and sort of work from there, and gives you a perfect opportunity to go for the pincer, but we're not going to see that just now as they're making their way instead into the B site of Reason Gaming. Starting off on this T side plant is going to be coming in, so now the chance for the retake to come in from FM. Crucial already in there with the first frag. Two rotating from behind, and Bather, he's doing some righteous work. He's got one before he's taken down by Huds G, who's got stack loads of experience, probably over a decade worth of Counter-Strike experience in Huds G. Stanley, he gets himself a frag as well before Crucial's able to pick up Huds G, and Keita cleans up with his first of the round and of the match. Reason Gaming take a 1-0 on T-Side.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of something you see fairly often on Overpass, just the quick B play, chuck the smokes down, get the bomb on the ground, and after that, there's so many angles on that site you can play. There's so many different areas you can... I mean, even if you don't want to take the engagements, where you can just hide, and Reason really did a great job not even hiding. They were facing everybody they could. They anticipated the rotate around the back, the flank, which is another sort of common factor on this map, and they managed to play around it quite well, so great to see them doing that. Now it's up to FM to do something magical themselves. These guys have to find a round with just pistols and a little bit of armor. The Deagles, though, in my opinion, bode well. If we can see some starting something off on long here, there's definitely a good chance for them to get started in the round, but unfortunately he can't find a frag. Just going to be falling back, giving them a little bit more control of the map, and taking those sort of more closed-in positions that you have to, essentially, as you pull later into the game. And with the advanced positions given up, Reason have almost full control at this point. They can really go anywhere. They can rotate quickly between the sites, and that is one of the best things about this map. Both teams can be anywhere at any time, and that means that FM, with one man down, are going to have to split their resources quite heavily.
Yeah, they sure are. Huds G in the toilet, so he gets a pick from there, brings it back even, but his position is known, so he's picked up, and pincer movement. Two players coming in towards him, so they probably would have at least picked him up on a 1-for-1 trade, if not better in that situation than they do catch him. So no such luck there. Nilzinho, one of the stalwarts of UKCS for a number of years. The Scotsman try to do some work with the pistol. One over towards the truck now as they try and make their way over onto the A site and get a plant. Crucial with his second of the round taking down Nilzinho. Weber try to do what damage he can over towards the B site. He's now going to be coming in as Baith is able to pick up the final Mac 10 frag on Stanley, and Reason, as expected, take it to a 2-0 advantage.
Yeah, and this round, realistically, we're just looking at this one being a given, I think. FM aren't really going to be able to get anything too much up. You can already see one P250, two P250s out on Stanley and Huds G. Make that 3 with Nilzinho picking one up, but it's still not a great buy. It's still something fairly boring. It's still something that maybe is going to allow them to find 1 or 2 frags if they can put themselves in those close angles and catch people by surprise. And actually might work even better if they do what Tom and I think it's Huds G are doing here, and if they baited a USP player, that's going to be a great opportunity, but instead it's Huds G to face first, and he still makes it work. Finds himself the frag onto Baith, and starts things off the way FM want to. It's a 4 versus 5 situation. They've got themselves that advantage. It's just what they can do with it at this point, and realistically the answer is not a huge amount past trying to put more frags on the table, because they are going to be getting pushed directly from long. 3 players, rather, ready to barrel straight out and take fights with anybody they can. There's no armor on the side of FM. And I think that means really no response.
No, it doesn't seem like it. All going to be coming in from one angle as such. Connor going to try and drift out towards the mid, but pretty quickly going to find out that there's no one there by the sounds of it with all the footsteps, etc. Crucial is leading the charge with 3 frags to his name in the round, and that puts him top of the shop. 7-0 is his tally. But now this is the time when things get real. It's the first buy coming in from FM. So let's see what they can do on their map pick. AWP up in the hands of Neil Zinho, which is probably going to be the way that things will go. And he's going to make his way out towards the B site. So a good little spot. You can get yourself up in the window potentially. But no, it seems like he actually wants to get in deep and maybe face towards that pipe. Looking out towards, I guess you could call it like a B storage, compared to what you're looking at in the past, but it is an open area. So Neil Zinho is in a position where he could find himself get trapped. He's not too careful, so he's got to, now he gets flashed out and has to drop back, and has a little while before he can get himself back into a half-decent position. Probably going to go up top. Might be thinking that's a fake and head towards the A site, potentially. Got some. Now, he's walking aggressive and trying to make something happen through long, but he misses his opportunity with the rifle in hand, and that played into the hands of the SMG. You don't have to be quite so accurate with that. You can just hold mouse 1 and see what happens. And Connor taking down the 28 points of health, but he still lives to fight another day and might be able to recover Som's weapon, which he does now. So advantage again for FM in this first buy versus buy.
Again, this is where things are going to be getting awkward. They already lose 1 player, and then Weber comes straight in with a frag onto Stanley. Puts them down 1 lower still. It's going to be a 3 versus 5 situation, and all 3 of the players at the moment are over towards that A. So only Neil Zinho actually in a position where he can even see B, but he is still so far away from it. If they decided to take the bomb there, if they decided to move that aggression around a little bit, they could be in with a very easy time. Even if they hit A, though, as long as they hit it with at least 4 men, it shouldn't be too much of a trouble. They've got the utility. They've got everything. The only thing I'd really be scared about at this point is Hud's G's position, but he gives it away, decides to peek early, and doesn't manage to find the frag off the back of it. So that's now everything known about this team, where they're playing and how they're doing it, and they're just going to get picked to pieces. 1 man left, and it's going to be Neil Zinho with the AWP because he was playing something a lot more passive. Now, though, he is getting pincered from both sides, has to start hitting these shots, and indeed finds 1. What he can do from this point, though, is very little more than just running away, holding onto the AWP, and hoping that he can get out alive with it into the next round, because their economy, after that one, is completely shattered.
Now let's see if he can get a save. It seems likely that he probably will be able to keep this weapon into the coming rounds. No, Keita comes in, picks him up, drops the AWP. He's going to recover that and bring it home for his team, and FM are back up against it. And we're seeing similar kind of sitch to what we saw in the first map of the first match, is that when you start getting behind on CT side, it's really difficult to build that economy, and you can end up losing a few rounds very, very quickly, as we're seeing here now. It's probably going to be 5-0 most likely, and then FM going to be stuck on a scrubby little buy, see if they want to get themselves back into it on CT side. So this could run away from them very quickly on their map pick as well. So they might end up regretting this, thinking let's catch someone a little bit cold on this map. They might not play it too often. Stanley gets one to play. It's these SMGs that are doing the job. They're getting in close quarters, and FM not quite hitting their straps just yet, and the SMGs are coming out on top. And the other advantage of that is that you just build your bankroll on it as well, get 200% kill bonus from a lot of these weapons. So it's just allowing them to put a nice little stack of cash together, ready to go, just in case FM do start to win a couple of rounds. And Crucial's going to pick it up, getting aggressive with the AWP as well. Takes it to 5-0 as expected. And let's take a little look at the buy. So it's going to come in from FM with the 5 rounds of loss bonus going up against them. But they're going to want to cement their place in this map so much as they can. Just dig their heels in and try and pick up a few rounds.
I just want to point something out at the moment. Crucial's going 10-0, right? 5 rounds into the game with an ADR of, I think, 150. This man is crazy. I just wanted to bring some attention to that because he's more than double the closest man in his team and just doing a fantastic job. FM are going to have a hard time dealing with him. That's ignoring everybody else, and again, reason maybe not the team we expected to see taking the early lead in this one, but they're doing a wonderful job so far, and they seem to just continuously be able to push the sites. As you said in the last round, the SMGs, when they have them and when they're sort of a viable weapon against pistols and the like, they do a huge job with them. Well, they do a fantastic job with them, rather. They manage to find themselves, what, 3-4 kills around, they stack up that bank, they get everything sorted, and they do it well. And this round, it doesn't look like they're going to be doing anything too shabby either. Connor does lose a bit of health to the Molotov, but they pull right out of position. They're ready to reshuffle around, and I mean, the only thing I'd be worried about at the moment if I was them is the fact that they don't have presence at many places on the map, but it does look like that's not really what they're worrying about. They're completely committed to being, they are going to be pushing it. All it's going to take is for FM to realize this now, though, and they could be in trouble, and that should be the giveaway. Connor comes in, finds himself trying, starts things off nicely. Even as we see Stanley respond, it's going to be Weber with the refrag. The advantage maintained, the bomb down, and now a 3 versus 4 retake to try and stop Reason taking 6 in a row.
Not again, please. Let's not see another 2-0 cleanup. Just try and drag this out a little bit. We get to the playoff stages, we see some phenomenal CS. We don't want it to go down quite as quickly as this in day 1 of the playoffs. But you never know. There's still plenty of time. FM going to escape with 3 weapons, including 2 AWPs. So that's not a bad position for them to find themselves in. For Fry and Stanley, and see, well, those two are going to be up against it, but they could probably get some kind of upgraded pistol, maybe get themselves some armor, and then if they can make things work with these picks, etc., then maybe there's opportunity to get weapons.
Yeah, some can potentially drop, well, maybe even an M4, because he has a decent amount of nades on him. And then we're going to see Hudgy dropping an M4 as well, so they should be able to get something up here, as you said. A little bit of a buy, but again, because they have to drop, because they have to do all of this stuff, it's going to leave them with very little cash indeed. It's going to be another one of those rounds that if they do lose and if they don't manage to save as they did in the last, they're going to be back with their backs against the wall. They're going to be back in the position where they lose 1 and they essentially go up 2 or maybe even 3. And I don't know, it's just not a fun place to be, especially with Reason looking as strong as they do. All it's going to take is 1 or 2 rounds and these guys are back in the gutter. And this one's not starting off any better than the others have. There's no angles to exploit. There's no players to see. Reason just being insanely careful getting past these common angles, getting past the AWP. And finding the opening frag in the round yet again.
And it's sort of trying to get mid-control. It's not the first time that someone's been the first to go. He's him pushing down long, trying to take in corner, trying to peek out in mid, trying to do something there. And it's a little bit like August in the first map when I tried to use a bit of controlled aggression. It worked once. It got them 1 round out of doing that effectively, and then a second one right at the death. Pretty much in the first half, and you've got to be careful there. And here we go. So they've already lost the man. Hudgy pushing up through the steps from underneath to try and step into mid and try and sort of get some control. But again, they're taking it far too easy. They're just sitting in there. They don't have to commit to anything. And here's Stanley's doing exactly the same thing. He's just walking in 1 at a time. And this seems foolish. Wow.
I mean, you're talking foolish when your teammates call that they're pushing toilets and you decide to jump peek. With the knowledge that there is an AWP on the table on their side, that I would also classify as foolish. So Neilzinho gets his life taken away from it. It's up to Fry with the M4, and it's sort of a definite save. There's no way to go for this retake. There's no way to go for anything. He's just gonna huddle himself in a corner and hope that they don't come and chase him, because he can't go either way without being caught. He's gonna try and take the fight with Weber, and actually might just win it. Weber's looking the other way, almost manages to turn around, but doesn't quite get it in the end, and that means that it is just going to be everybody else chasing him down. You can see Bafe considering it here in the flashbang now, deciding that he's going to be pushing around, but they're going in 1 at a time. So this might be the chance for Fry to stack up some cash. 3 frags already in the round and an AK gained.
Oh!
Until Connor does that. Wallbang headshot to finish things off in that one, as Reason seem a little bit less than happy about him taking things through to the next round. So it's 7 in a row. And FM don't even manage to save. This is their last hurrah, essentially, for a little while. This is everything they can put together. It's FAMAS it's an AWP, it's M4s, it's not the strongest buy, and to boot, there's no kits. As soon as the site's gone, the retake is just going to be almost impossible.
And they're feeding off of Crucial's energy, going absolutely huge during the first couple of rounds, and now the rest of the team are starting to get on board. You know, they've got 11, 12k with a full buy up. A couple of these guys, they are well and truly stacked in the finances. And you see again, FM, they're trying to get this mid control, but they're not, well, times they've been pushing, revealing themselves. This time they didn't. They thought they're sitting there, but they are still sitting in there, and maybe that's the problem. Neilzinho with the AWP, he seems to be floating around, trying to look towards the B site more often than not, maybe he needs to get himself into like a Guardian type position, just locked down long. And that's something that we've seen hudzG do previously on this map before, is he'll get the AWP and he'll look in that sort of direction and make sure that A long is well and truly settled. So they're changing it up a bit, and there's neilzinho with an opening pick, takes down Connor. Now hudzG getting aggressive, takes down Crucial as well. So he's not going for the AWP just yet. He knows that there might be more players around mid, and he has dropped that player now. So here we go, hudzG trying to make something happen. Does step though after getting 2 frags, and that's a bit of a trade-off. Weber and Baith last 2 left alive, 30 seconds on the clock. neilzinho with the AWP looking down long where the bomb's been dropped. So I think this is probably going to be a round on the board for FM, as long as they don't go and throw this thing away. But they've got to be careful of the reset. Oh, nice.
Beautiful from Weber there to get them back into it. It looked like he was gone. I thought off the back of that smoke he was going to be just completely demolished. Still, he manages to find himself one, and he gives them a 2 versus 2 situation to work on. Going to be scoring out neilzinho as well. He hits the shot, looks for the second, but can't quite find it. Stanley manages to take 2 and closes the round out for FM to put their first on the board. But that is definitely a point of emphasis at the moment. It's their first on the board after 8 rounds. Crucial's only died once, and this is FM's map pick.
Yeah, and Reason went from a save to what was so close to being a winnable situation there as well. It was ridiculous, and so nearly came through. And good composure for anything from Stanley just to finish things off and step. And when things are going that way, you sometimes feel for a player and you think, oh, bro, don't step. But they managed to come away with it in the end, so nice work. But Reason Gaming have really hit the ground running with the way they've started this. They look a bit like FM did against August a couple of weeks ago. They look to be in a different class so far, and whether it will continue, hudzG managing to take down base. So time for him to start getting into the game a little bit, and he's got some for backup as they charging into the B, trying to lock that one down. But the action is actually coming towards the A site. They're still trying to get that mid control, which they have. So they've got a choice of where they go, but they get themselves into the right angles. They can sort of watch these FM players as they make their way into their rotate positions and try and pick them off one at a time, potentially. They've got to get this right, FM, and for Reason, they've got no time to worry. They've still got 50 seconds left to go on the clock. And they've got a slender disadvantage, but they can still wrap back around to B. So FM need to make a bit of a decision. See if they're chosen right. neilzinho walking through. He wants to try and get up close to that Swag 7. And he has got an engagement. He takes that Crucial and the AWP. And he gets Keita as well on the spin. I don't know how he's still alive, neilzinho, but he is. And time are ticking away. They need to get hold of that bomb. And Neil standing right on top of it. He does get challenged though. And Weber's also picking up a frag, leaving Stanley to pick up Weber in the end, trading back. So FM still keep a slender advantage with the bomb making its way onto the site with 2 players there. 15
seconds for the 1v2, and Connor's going to be trying it. Runs in first, can't seem to find the shot. And that is painful. You can see as soon as the CT is here, the movement, they both just pounce. They know that there's not much time left. They know that all they have to do is find one bullet into his head, and they are comfortable doing so. After that round, though, we are going to be seeing a pause. So this one coming out from the FM side, I'm pretty sure it's a tech pause, but even so, that's potentially quite good for Reason. I mean, thinking about the fact they're on 7 rounds, or they've won 7 rounds consecutively to start this off, and FM have only just really got back into the game. If they can use this this short technical pause to have a little bit of a discussion regarding what's changed, what they can do to get around that, and how to put a little bit more up there, I don't know. Maybe this is what they need to further their lead.
Yeah, maybe. And it seems like it's been hudzG sort of waking up with a couple of frags. Like getting a bit of map control, etc. Just pushing and being a little more aggressive here and there. So that's something they got to watch out for. And it's a similar kind of thing we saw for August when they tried to do this and use a bit of controlled aggression. It doesn't take long before that gets picked up on, and they just deal with some kind of anti-strat type thing. See Reason are quite willing to be patient and sit in mid and wait for the right opportunity as well for picks to come and that sort of thing. And FM, they seem to be quite willing to walk into iron sights at times and try and push and wrap and make use of the map, which if you're comfortable on the map and you tend to be doing quite well on it, then yeah, I mean, you might then use these elements of aggression, but sometimes you just got to sit on your site, use utility, lock the thing down. And I guess utility is another problem. They haven't always got it because they're in a bit of a funk as far as a losing streak was. So maybe this is their chance to get back into it and very slenderly win out this half.
I'd know to me as well, it seems like a lot of the utilities actually being wasted in the first 30 or so seconds of the map as they try and gain that control of mid. When they do. And realistically, holding mid on this map is one of those things you don't really want to commit to. Obviously, keeping mid control for as long as possible definitely is, but holding it, if the T's are trying to take it, is sort of one of those things that doesn't end up being very viable in the majority of teams. You see this very dynamic playstyle where they will change their position based on the round, and obviously if they don't see anything, they can keep up. Well, they can keep pushed up, they can keep watching from the aggressive angles. If they do feel aggression, normally it's one shot and then you're out of there. You run straight back to site, huddle in there, and hope that you can do something about it. But we're not going to be seeing any of that this round. Nobody going to mid just yet. Instead, it's going to be another hit towards the B side of the map. And honestly, I can see why Reason are doing it. It's where they've had the most success. They know that they can penetrate this site, and as long as they do it well, this could end up being round number 8 right on the board.
It could well be. And I'm sure FM's finances, it's taking a look now. In Stanley's down to 0, no other players on 50. So their economy can't handle any round losses at this stage. They're going to be back up against it with their backs against the walls. So something they've got to be very, very wary of. And FM's got to keep winning rounds straight and maybe just take it to 8-7, give themselves a fighting chance. They can hit the ground running on their T side, get a bit of momentum going here. For the rest of this first half, then maybe they've got a chance to still win out on their map. But early stages suggesting that Reason are in the ascendancy, and that's not going to help. Som going down to Keita, and Som he's not picked up too many frags, I don't think. He's down on 2 and 9, and how many of those frags have been caused by him dying first from trying to get to aggro somewhere? And he's going to have to address that very, very quickly, I think. Going forward, or Reason in the form that they're in the mood they're in, they're going to make him pay. And Weber through the smoke, I don't know where he's getting these from, but he's spamming through smoke, through woods. He's just on point from straight away entering the site. It's like he's got this sixth sense. He knows the angles as the plant goes down. Both trying to get the angle on HudsG, and does. Nilzinho though with a frag on Connor. So Nilzinho 2v1, the Scotsman gets on the defuse straight away, and he's going to sit on it. Maybe this is enough. They have a look.
Are you joking?
God.
Are you actually kidding? How does... It's another one of those how does that happen moments. We've had a couple tonight, Mark, and that has got to be the worst in my opinion. I mean, realistically, the FM have been on a little bit of a win streak. Even if it's only 2 rounds, they should assume there's kits on the board, and Keita was in the perfect position to just give it a little bit of a shoulder peek, see if there was any response, and if not, go back for a bit more.
And it's team swagger in it. It's like, nah, he's not going to do that. He's not going to drop in and sit on that. Nah, no way, mate. No way.
Oh, dear. It just makes you look like a bit of an idiot, doesn't it, when you're sat 2 feet away and he's defusing the bomb. Very unfortunate indeed. Hopefully, though, they can redeem themselves in this round as Connor almost manages to start off beautifully. Instead, it's going to be Stanley and HudsG for FM. Finding themselves 3 frags in a matter of seconds, and HudsG has the angle on Keita as well. Now, Connor, the only man with a frag in the round, the last man left alive, and there's nothing whatsoever. Absolute decimation from the FM side as they seem to be picking up the pace quite rapidly. Already, Stanley's managed to match Crucial in terms of frags, and the rest of the team are catching up fast. This is looking like it could definitely be a difficult map. The issue for FM is much like what we saw on Cobblestone in the second map, in the last map. Reason have already found a bit of a lead on the less favoured side, and if FM even lose 1 or 2 more from here, they're in an awful, awful position.
Yeah, for sure. FM's got to keep rolling. Just pick this thing up, take it 8-7, and then they can kind of go on from there. Because if they can, honestly, if they get to that point, then that will have been 8 rounds straight. So a bit of momentum, and kind of psychologically, if nothing else. You'd expect during that time that some will maybe pick up a couple of frags. And kind of picked up that he's made some questionable pushes and been maybe a little bit too aggressive early on, and hasn't come up with these opportunities. So maybe if he can get himself back into the game, that's another thing that might have a big effect. As HudsG takes down Connor with the AWP, so he's getting into the mid, trying to take the mid control, and Crucial, who else ends up trading that one straight back with the AWP versus AWP battle into the mid. So that's going to help you out a little bit on the Reason side. It's very tough to find a situation where you would rather lose a player on CT side than you would on T side on balance if you want to be playing with a trade. Got 30 seconds left to go, so not a whole lot of time for Reason to make it their move here, though. They've got a bit of mid-control, but maybe not as much as they'd like, and they have to get on their bikes here.
Indeed, they're going to have to speed things up, but instead it's going to be Stanley to push first. Weather does deal with him though in the end. I'm going to be facing up against Fry next. Unfortunately, can't make that one the same result. Instead, it's going to have to be the push towards it, and they have managed to draw some players away, so it should be a little bit easier, as it's just going to be Som to deal with, and the aggression just isn't there from anyone. I think realistically, he lost his nerve a bit, waited too long, and left Crucial with the opportunity to find the frag, and he's just going to continue to find frag after frag right now. Even as Fry jumps up a little bit unexpected, he manages to get out of dodge and leaves it in a 2 versus 1 situation. Bullets flying all around, and Fry still manages to find both. Even as he's tagged by Crucial, he picks up the frags, and he finds the round for his team. FM take themselves to 5.
Yeah, and Fry, good job, bro. He's been sort of down there, kind of second to last behind Som, and he's been kept a little bit quiet so far, but he's come up Trump's ways, needed it from that round, and picked up 3 frags, trying to save the weapon before he's eventually nailed by Connor in a ridiculous shot during the very early stages of this first map. But really good stuff starting to come in from FM. Took a bit of a recovery needed there, if you like, but it doesn't matter, it did come in the end. Still a bit scrubby, this by Neilzinho with the AWP up in hand again. Let's see what he can do with that. Well, he's got himself into the toilet. So, talk about exposed. You've got angles you can get pushed in from different ways. 3 different angles from those toilets. And there's only so many angles that you can watch yourself. And, firing off a shot into the middle of nowhere.
Look where his team are as well. If they don't jump up extremely quickly, Reason are in with a perfect chance of pushing an AWP with no protection. Luckily, they don't do that, and they do give him a bit of a chance to, well, they give FM, rather, a little bit of a chance to gather their forces. So it's going to be Neilzinho and HudsG, and Neil gets boosted, looking over the top of the APC, but he doesn't spot anybody out. The push from long is all but ignored, and he's forced to fall back into the bank as they fold on the site. Instead, it's going to be up to Fry to find the frags, but suddenly he gets shut down, and now it's a question of what do they do. 2 players trapped off in bank, the bomb probably about to go down, and they just have to try and make the push work, but HudsG can't do it. He's dealt with immediately. He's left back into a 3 versus 3, and FM might have just given up the ghost. Instead, though, it's going to be Neilzinho and Stanley coming up big. 1 each, leaving just Keita to try and make something big happen here. Unfortunately, he's going to be closed in on from both sides, and it's the situations like that that are really inescapable. As soon as there's a player either side of you, what do you do? Who do you take the fight with? Where can you hide?
Well, I can kind of see the plan. Get Neilzinho with the AWP out, and then 1v1 against Som. Well, on current form, I think I'd fancy myself 1v1 versus Som, but yeah, that's...
oh, dear, Mark.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not so sure.
Well, yeah, that doesn't do him any justice, because he's been a very, very strong player at most points of this tournament, and he can collect frags in bunches, so I am very surprised to see things unfolding quite the way that they are for him right now. But it also means that it's temporary. I mean, they say class is permanent, and I'm sure if this does go through the distance and we see a best of 3, we'll start to see a bit of that shining through, and still a chance for him to get himself back into this game and make a difference on T side, where a few opening picks will be able to help the team out. Double AWP coming in, HudsG and Neilzinho. I would hazard to say that HudsG has perhaps been the more effective of the 2 of them during the early stages of this map, but there's still time for that to develop. And Neilzinho, great AWPer, knows how to use that weapon, and is quite comfortable to drift around and hold different sites and different angles with it. So he's a useful asset to have in the team. So they're looking towards the long, but I said it's the mid where the action is stacking up. 45 seconds left to go on the clock, and I think we're going to see another attack onto A pretty soon.
Yeah, double AWP set up, ready to take them on as they come through, and this one should be interesting. You can see Neilzinho there holding the tight angle just through the side of Optimus. HudsG playing a little bit further back, standing in bank and waiting to catch anybody trying to come around the side, and Som waiting for any pushes down long, but now he's going to be switching his attention. Neilzinho picks up 1, and this is where the frags start coming in. HudsG forced back by the flame zone. It's all going to be up to the man on site himself still. Nothing given up at all. They've managed to pull it back. From 7 straight down, they have tied this one off, Mark. It is 7-all after 2 huge streaks from both of the teams. And now it's anyone's guess who's going to be finishing this one with the win. And I mean, at the moment I'd give it to FM just on the fact that Reason have very little to work with. It's going to be Tech-9s, a Galil, and an AK-47, limited utility. Everything against them, but if they hit the B site fast, there's a good chance that we could see it at least do something.
Yeah, and it's been all FM, aside from...
Sorry, one of the smokes just bounced off the train.
Nice.
One of their smokes just bounced off the train and it's not going to be there.
In comes the spray down. It's all kicking off over towards the B site now. Let's see what they can do from here. It's back to a 3v3 and there's a double AWP coming in from FM. So, that is not the best position. Reason can just sit in. And after a Crucial going on an absolute snorter at the beginning of this, maybe it's enough to win half. But 3v1 now. Crucial, last man standing. He gets taken down by Neilzinho and they are going to get the defuse. So, 8 straight rounds from FM to counter 7 straight rounds at the beginning from Reason. FM somehow end up taking out the first half on their map choice, but who would have expected that? That's crazy. That's a crazy start to this series.
Yeah, that's an interesting way for a game to go. I'm gonna try and still make some sense of it and say that the fact that Reason picked up 7 rounds off the back of the pistol might mean that in this half they have a little bit of trouble. I mean, unless we see them pick up the pistol again, that suggests they only really got 4 rounds once everything was sort of on the board, right?
Yep.
And if that's the case, then gun rounds obviously aren't their strong suit against this team, especially as FM have managed to find their stride a little bit, and there's a good chance we could see these guys run away with it on their T side. At the same time, CT does tend to be the easier side, so if Reason get a good start, there's a good chance we could see them also taking it the distance. This one at the moment for me looks like anybody's game. The pistol round definitely favouring FM. They have the smokes out, and even with a man down, they should be able to get the front as long as they're watching everywhere. But Reason, they don't want to give them a break. Constant aggression everywhere across the map. And even when it looks like it's not going to work, it still results in a 3 versus 3. It still results in a situation that, honestly, thinking about it, isn't that bad. And FM having to rotate all the way across the map with a bomb.
That they sure do. They'll be able to get full control of this mid, though, as Reason have left that completely alone, and they'll have the opportunity to get themselves probably onto site. No utility to help out, but no utility for the CTs either. It's all being used, so they can just use the facilities, use that for cover potentially, but Neilzinho is going pretty much solo in the mid as the plant now coming in from B, but Weber, look at the spot he's in. He's going to be able to stop the plant. Can he get the second frag? Yes, he can. Weber with the 3K, and Reason get the first pistol. Bring it back even. 8 all it is.
Well, it's exactly what they needed. This is going to make for a very interesting game now. I am fully stumped as to what's going to happen. Are Reason going to find 7 more rounds in a row? Are FM going to continue their form once we reach the gun rounds? There's too many questions, and honestly, I don't think any of them are going to be answered until we reach probably about round 6 of this half. And that's sort of where things will solidify. I reckon that's where we see the direction of the game come out. But at the moment, it is going to be FM with those Tech-9s, seeing what they can do, creeping around the map and finding their way through connector towards a toilet. Crucial's going to be playing a close position, and as long as they can get through here, fine. They're going to be in a good place indeed. They see the smoke in front of them. And the wonderful thing about Tech-9s, especially if you have the flash, is that movement, is that maneuverability, and they use it perfectly. Stanley drops, but Som comes through with 2 frags to start things off. Crucial going to be finding one of his own, but it means things are in a 3 versus 3, and they're closing these distances down. They're putting the Tech-9s where they're going to be the most effective, and they still have time on the clock to go where they want. Realistically, all they have to do now is deal with Crucial, and Neilzinho is trying to do just that, but unfortunately can't manage it initially. It's going to be up to Som to find yet another frag, as they now head towards the B bomb site.
Yeah, that's going to be their plan, and they're trading backwards and forwards, these two teams. Suddenly, we're starting to see this unfold, just how evenly matched they could potentially be. Connor up on the truck over towards A, so whether if he wants to push through here, he might give away his position, maybe with the door or maybe with the footstep or something like that. But if he gets taken down, they've got clear run into B, and they've spotted him, but can he pick it up again? Can he bring it home? Yes, he can. Weber, with a couple of players charging towards him, he comes out on top. It's 2 frags that bring it home, and Reason Gaming now have the lead. So we'll probably see them push through and get this next one on the board as well, you'd expect. FM haven't got enough to get AKs, and then from that point it's going to be 10-8 for the first buy versus buy. So it's all heating up, but FM, if they pick that one up, could end up picking it back to just one round in it. And yeah, this is definitely now anyone's to play for.
I mean, we were hoping for closer matches. Could this one go the distance is my question. Could we see this one reach all 30 rounds? At the moment, I'm going to have to go with yes on that. But right now, rather, Reason is starting things off wonderfully. Weber, Bafe, and Keita coming in with a frag apiece to start things off. And Weber actually making his total 2 as he leaves just Stanley as the last man left alive. What a surprise. He's ready to find that one as well. So Reason do manage to secure the last round, the round everybody thought they were going to be getting, and take themselves to 10 on the board. But as you said, Mark, all it's going to take is FM to come back into this one. And not only are we going to be seeing only 1 round's difference in it, we're potentially going to be seeing Reason with a little bit of a dodgy economy once again. I mean, there are 2 players sitting around that 5,000 mark, but the other 3 are currently sitting at 800, 850. And that is just not really good enough. They've lost a few too many players in these anti-ecos, and it could come back to bite them in the next round if we see FM start things off again here.
Yeah, he goes to try and make it cheap. Try gets one, and it's trade back Hudge there. He takes down Connor, and it seems like Hudge is maybe wanting to put the team on his shoulders a little bit. Meanwhile, on the Reason side, Weber has put himself top of the frags alongside Crucial with the points. So he's managed to catch his teammate up after Crucial way off at a rate of knots. And we see all these Reason players coming in from the same angle. Hudge G, I'm not quite sure what he's looking at to find these players in a similar way to Weber was during the first half in particular, but he's finding them, and that's all that counts. That's his second of the round. Bomb gets planted, and so it's going to be a save operation coming in from Reason Gaming. Again, make it as cheap as they can. They've got an M4 and an AWP, which is being carried by 2 players who are on sort of the lowest cash out of the lineup, but they've got full setup, Tech 9 for Keita as well, so maybe they can switch up their armor, kits, all of that, which is going to be carried through. But as expected, then FM pick up the first buy versus buy, bring it back to just 1 round in it. 10-9 is Reason's very slender lead here.
I mean, this is better than I could have imagined. And Reason, they are not going to be going down easy. You can already see they want to go down swinging. 2 AWPs picked up here, 2 M4s maintained / picked up, and Keita just hanging on to that Tech 9 because, well, he had it, and it's still definitely a viable gun. Weber going to be taking the aggressive position to start things off, looking to see what he can do in terms of those frags, but nothing going to be coming his way yet as FM just refused to peek. Finally going to be seeing someone, but the flash forces him away from the angle and means he can't get anything done just yet. That is the AWPs almost nullified if FM can get in close. Unless you want to be using them as a shotgun, then things might just get awkward. I mean, when you invest in double AWPs when one of your players can't even afford a rifle, you're going to be in trouble, and Crucial finds that out. The flash comes through, and Fry manages to pick him up. There's going to be players pushing into connector from all sides. Stanley, the next man through, finds himself Bafe as he passes and leaves it in a 3 versus 5 situation. Weber going to be getting onto the A site to try and do some sort of damage to them as they come through, but obviously, if they push 2 at a time, he's going to be in trouble, and past that, they're heading towards B, so he's going to be in trouble anyway. Really nothing he can do, and there's a man left there ready to jump on that flank as soon as they realize that B site is being watched. This is a beautiful shot of CS. They found the site, they've got their defensive angles, they've got perfect afterplants. They're leaving it in a position where Keita has to go big with a Tech 9. Finds himself one, but I doubt it's going to be any more than that as he sees the AWP, picks it up, and starts to run away. It's 10-all, rather, to FM at this point. I mean, I guess we could have called that one.
Yeah, for sure. And FM then bringing it back even. And I mean, what a different game we're looking at compared to 15 minutes ago or so. As Keita, okay, so he's managed to take down Som as well. That's going to be an extra little benefit. But he's going to keep that thing going through. That's the AWP. So he's saving that. 3 frags for him, but he doesn't bring the round home. So 10-all it is. And let's see, so Weber and Crucial still leading the charge for Reason Gaming. Stan still top of the shop for FM as they bring this thing back even. And, you know, don't want to throw any predictions out there, but FM, now they look like a different team to what we saw probably in the first 10 rounds of CS, and maybe this is their time to get into. And they were just a slow starter, but unlike August, they were never able to get things back into contention as such, as they're now stacking up, ready to go into the B site. This has been fairly successful for them so far. That maybe if they can make this opening pick. Hudgy leading the charge, so he's first to face on Weber, who's in that familiar position behind the barrels. He's taken out in a few occasions, and it's quite easy to get exposed from there, and Weber's still there, just about. Faith coming in with the AWP, going to try and back up if he can, and that's a crisp shot on Hudgy. I don't know how he made that through the wood, but it connected, it was on point, and that was a nice little flick. So now they've slowed things up. They've got the AWP, but aside from that, it's upgraded pistols at best for reasons, so they haven't got a whole lot of firepower, but massive credit to Weber. He slowed them up to the point where he's just forced them out completely, and now Cruz has got the chance to take down some. So Reason having back an advantage. 45 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, and Fry had to take a little bit of a fight there. Decides that instead of falling back, they're just going to be pushing straight forward. Neilzinho with the AWP, taking that challenge on site, and there's 3 to find. Only one of them has a gun, so it might just have been the right call, but he does have to avoid Baif. We've already seen Baif is a little bit of a monster with that AWP when he needs to be. And if he realizes what's going on here, if he realizes what site it's going to be, then he might just be the issue. But so far, so good. He hasn't noticed a thing. Finally comes back around, manages to pick up the bomb carrier, though, and leaves it all up to Neilzinho. Crucial should have been able to find a weapon, and indeed he did. AK-47 in hand there. And he's just going to be chasing Neilzinho down. An easy round on the board for Reason Gaming. Despite the fact they started off with very little, the AWP turned out to be enough for them. And so they crawl on. 11 to 10. But, I mean, if I'm honest with you, I doubt we're going to be seeing it stay that way for all too long.
Now, who knows what happens here? FM, after that plant, still have... Okay, they haven't got a whole lot to work with, so they have to go with the Tech 9s. That with the speed that Hudgy brought up that AWP, and Fry went for the AK. Seemed like they had a little more left in the bank than they did, but they've got a couple of Tech 9s, so they're going to favour themselves to get the picks and take control of the weapons for those 2 players who have gone for Tech 9 and armour. That's not going to help Weber this time with the AWP, and he's getting aggro on Hudgy, takes him down straight off the bat, so that's going to be a chance to recover one of those weapons, and that does happen. So Stanley gets himself an AK, which is... I guess some small benefit going forward. They got 2 AKs, the AWP and the Tech 9. Minute 20 left to go on the clock in this, the 22nd round. And still, no one is particularly comfortable in this situation. We can see for Reason Gaming, 3 of their players are under $1,000 left in the bank. So their economy is still fragile, and they've got to be careful with it. Same with FM, who are probably in worse shape. And Fry gets taken down to 31 points of health. They know they're trying to work on that boost. They can probably hear something. Got some decent information as we go to just under a minute left to go on the clock. And now they're wrapping back towards the crucial. He's got the mid control. He takes one, and now he has to drop back onto the site. And he's pretty much flying solo there. So FM, if they want to challenge that en masse, they might be able to get in before he can get set.
Yeah, but realistically, he's playing it smart. He's playing it for the individual picks and then falling back to cover and just continuing to peek out. And maybe that was a little bit too cocky. Still, he does the damage before he drops. He finds himself 3 frags and leaves some as the sole man alive. And realistically, as the sole man alive, I doubt he's going to be able to get a huge amount done. Connor's already waiting, but they go in 1 by 1, and suddenly he finds 2. This is now a doable situation. Although, as I say it, Weber does find the last. And so we don't see it go anywhere. Still, a much closer round than I would have imagined. A nice round to boot, but it does put FM back down into a situation where they really can't justify the buy, so it's going to be pistols again and a chance for Reason to pull ahead a little bit. This one should be now going 13 to 10 unless we see something really crazy. And from that point on, I don't know, Reason remember the chance. I'm still not willing to call this game though, because at any moment FM could get their buy-in and start taking rounds. Obviously the 8 rounds in a row on their CT side showed us that in a big way. So yeah, realistically, I'm not going to get too confident on anything, but Reason definitely looking strong right now.
Yeah, FM maybe could have used the bomb plant. The opportunity was there, but I think maybe saw the opportunity to make it happen. And oh, Fry's got the TK before they take down Faith, but he's causing some serious problems. Connor grabs Hudgy in the meantime as well. Crucial with the AWP. challenging Guardian, getting aggressive down on that A-long with the frag for him, leaving Fry last man standing with the M4 that he's managed to recover. Now maybe a chance for him to pick up a couple of frags, do some economic damage. Look to your left, bro, he's right there, and he does manage to pick up Connor. So missed opportunity maybe for reason to soften that, and instead they've taken a bit of economic damage. They're still not comfortable. One of the players left, that is, I think it was Keita actually from the rebuys, and was stuck down on $200. They did pick it up in the end, so 13-10. Reason Gaming now edging ever closer to victory in this first map and stealing one away from FM, but they're back up onto a full AK buy and maybe going to want to put together a similar run to their 8 straight that helps them pick up the half.
I mean, they're going to need to, really. At this point, if they don't start winning rounds now, there's a potential we're going to be seeing Reason find themselves a 15th. At the moment, this one's going to be deciding the 14th, and should it go badly, they're going to be in a bad position to start things off. It looked like Bafe might have had it locked down in this round, though. Unfortunately for them, only manages to find himself 1 before he is dropped, and so it is going to be a 4 versus 4. It is going to be a favourable situation for FM, and as I was previously saying, it is something they quite need right now, because their economy doesn't look like it's going to be sustaining a buy in the next if they lose this one, and that would mean match point. That would mean fighting for survival over the following 5 rounds, and really trying to see what they could do in that sense, and that's never fun. So, advantage is currently on their side. They've got the utility to use. They've got the positions to use, because Reason are playing extremely insular on these sites right now. And they have so much freedom across the map, they can choose where to hit. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be B. But they should make their decision soon. We've got 49 seconds left. There's going to be 2 players at either site, and this should at least be a guaranteed plant.
Yeah, you would think so, and you would perhaps hope so. Som with the frag takes down Crucial. Nice work. That's one of the AWPs down on the setup, and that brings the advantage back in favour of FM. 30 seconds left to go, though. They're going to try and make their play onto B, so they have to get that opening pick, which they do. So a chance for Plant to come in. 4v2. Can they lock this thing down? So whoever with the AWP is a dangerous prospect from distance, but they can just kind of sit in and wait for him to come out. They don't have to overcommit as Weber takes down Fry. So a bit of information maybe on where he is going to be coming in from. Looks like as he's still cotching over towards the A site, he's going to instead prioritise saving that AWP as we have a look at the money. Yeah, they are. No, actually, Keita might be in trouble with his rebuy. Actually, this could force him right back. Weber, though, he's got 41, so he's going to be dropping. But getting these rebuys, these drops, getting their utility up, etc., it's going to make this pretty expensive, especially if they could drop this AWP. Som's got some information. He's going to try and hunt him down, try and get up close, and Weber sees head in hand. That helps him out, and he is able to get that frag on Som. So, and in the end, also making it quite expensive for FM, who will have to put some rebuys together. But they bring it again close. The deficit now just 2 rounds again. And to say this is getting tense is a bit of an understatement, I think.
Yeah, this half throws up a whole different story than the last one we saw. Instead of 2 long streaks, it's a few short ones broken up. And both teams doing their best to just get back into it. And it does bring a slightly more interesting story of the economy into it, which I always find quite refreshing. It means that the teams do have to be clever with what they buy, and you can already see Reason doing just that, scrubbing together whatever they can, finding themselves with a FAMAS and a CZ in their possession. But both of those weapons, if played the correct way, can be extremely impactful, and they do have some of those stronger guns on the board as well. Crucial, playing with a big green gun, can't quite find the frag with it, so he's not going to be doing too well, and Fry is in the position to take him down. A nice, easy frag there for the 2-man advantage to be gained, and it's an M4 and an AWP that's dropped, so the CZ and FAMAS still on the board, and they're going to have to be defending the site because Keita and Connor are the 2 men there. Weber is so far away on such a ridiculously long rotate that if they head to this A site, he has no chance whatsoever. That's the save call, I assume, coming out as he finds himself 1. Yep, and picks up what he can to get out of dodge because, I mean, from that distance, and in a 1 versus 3, it's just not worth it.
No, it isn't. And let's take a look at the cash again. So, up against it. I'm going to throw in a prediction. I'm going to predict that the winner of the next round takes the map.
I mean, I'm gonna evaluate your prediction and say it's looking like that could end up being true, actually, yeah.
I guess the only thing that you can throw into the mix is the reason they are going to be scrubbing together this time, or maybe going pretty much for an eco and leave Weber anchoring a site solo. In fact, yeah, they can't really force this. So, Weber going to be on the anchor role. But FM, they're starting to roll again, and if they end up picking up this next one, you'd expect if they can try and make it expensive, take them out, not lose too many players themselves, they will probably be setting their economy for the remainder of this thing. You can see Reese now getting aggressive out into the mid, trying to take mid control. FM stacking up towards the B. So if they start to find that when they throw in the utility they're not getting anything back, they'll be able to get pretty much full control of this site and make it fairly easy. You'd expect some. He's going to get aggressive. He could be walking into a bear pit. It's not a very well equipped bear pit. They're going to have blunt claws, very little in the way of weapons, but when there's that mass of players, it's still a very dangerous prospect if he wants to push it. And we now see them going on the walk, thinking that maybe this is a B commit, and it is a B commit. So now it's a chance for Reason to try and set their retake as best they can with the pistols. Connor already taken down to low HP, and the plant now coming in. Minute left to go on the clock, and FM going to be looking to bring this thing home even.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I'm trying to figure out what Reason can do, because it doesn't look like they have really the bite to go for the retake, and Weber's going to have to commit if they want it, but that's a dangerous thing when there's the chance to lose the AK. Fortunately, he stays alive, and honestly, I think, if anything, that should have just told them, yep, we need to save in this one. It's going to hurt. We're going to have to let them tie with us, but if Weber can hold on to that AK-47, they're going to have a good amount of money into the next round. They're going to be able to drop anybody who can't afford fully, and it means that they're just going to have, in general, that slightly more full buy. And I think that means the next round, as opposed to this round, is potentially the one that might decide the game, because it's going to be two teams on roughly even footing, albeit with FM on a higher rung economically speaking. But if Reason can pick this up, and if they can get themselves back on form, I feel they can still take it. This is going to be close whatever happens, though. And this round, I think especially, both teams getting up everything they can. Both teams actually looking fairly good right now. Obviously, FM, you expect to have everything, but Reason have managed to get a decent fight together. They found an extra AK in the last, which means they've got those kits, they've got those nades, and they can really try and start something here. The only issue at the moment is they don't have much presence. Again, it's Crucial holding mid solo, and he does a wonderful job of it, but as soon as nades start coming out, he has to fall back. That's just a huge chunk of the map lost already. And just like that, Reason are going to have to play very, very passive CS from the sites and wait for FM to make their move. FM can set the pace, and indeed they do. Som starts things off on Connor. Keita does manage to find the refrag, but it's still going to mean an advantage in the form of, well, rather on the side of FM. And they're going to be pushing fast towards the A side, trying to take advantage of everything they can, and indeed they do. Huds G starts things off, takes out potentially one of the most potent players on the entire side of Reason Gaming. Crucial. And leaves them in an awful position indeed. They're trying to find some way back into it, but Babe on the boost gets his head ripped clean off immediately. Fry being good at dealing with those sorts of players recently, and it is going to be Keita and Weber as the last two players, but Keita's already gone. And this is going to be FM finding their 14th round, I think you can almost assume for sure at the moment. Even if Weber goes for it, he gets shot in the back. And that is indeed one away from match point for the terrorist side. And we see a pause coming in.
Yeah, and it's coming from the team that are in the ascendancy. Suddenly, FM, they get that advantage, and they just seem so much crisper. And it's happened in the space of, well, a half and a bit, hasn't it? Where they've gone from a team that just looked like they weren't in it whatsoever to suddenly hitting their straps. And if it wasn't for Reason picking up as many early rounds as they did, those 7 straight, then, FM might be looking in a much more comfortable situation than you would expect. And it kind of matches their play style in the second half of this this thing going forward. As we've got okay, so they're admitting that it's a tactical pause. Just want to have a bit of a chat and make sure they continue this thing going forward. Reason going to be on a softer buy, and for FM they are fine. As far as the economy goes, they are good for these select few rounds that we've got left. Even if they drop this one, they can full rebuy again for another probably 2 rounds, full economy, that sort of thing. For Reason, they are right up against it, and from the commanding position that they were looking like they're going to put themselves in, they could be facing that point here after this one.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about early leads a little bit there.
Mm.
And Reeds and finding their 7 straight at the beginning. I think more importantly than that, they've had 6 rounds almost for free. They've won both pistols, and yet FM have still managed to claw their way back to 1 in the lead. That is something impressive to me, because obviously the pistol rounds in every game are some of the most crucial rounds. It is essentially 3 free rounds if you win one, especially if you win this, like the conversion afterwards, and there's no bomb plant if you're the CT side. It gives you that little boost. It gives you rounds you otherwise would never be able to have. And the fact that they've currently got six of those on the board and they're still behind really does make me doubt what their ability is going to be like moving forwards into this, because FM on the gun rounds have looked insanely strong, and 14 rounds on the board is something special. Just 2 more between it, and as well as that, they've taken a pause. But yeah, taking a long pause indeed, trying to figure out their strategy. Any ideas on what you think they're going to be doing, Mark?
Yeah, I can have a bit of a go at working out what the plan's going to be. Apologies, guys, had a helicopter flying over top, and it was a little bit close to comfort, that one, so if you picked up any noise on the old microphone, apologies for that. But yeah, in terms of plans for these two teams, well, for FM, they're probably going to continue on in a similar kind of vein as what they've been doing so far. They've been getting these early picks, and they don't have to worry too much about the mid control, because Reason aren't putting too much as far as utility into it. It's more down to crucial flying solo on it, so they're going to continue with that for the time being.
And again, they've passed the AWP off to somebody you might not expect them to give it to, but Babe, it's going to be the same thing I think we saw in the previous rounds. He's in that position where he can get the fast pick straight onto T-spawn, or straight at least onto T-halls, and as they come out of there, that is a good chance to pick up some free frags, so hopefully we're going to be seeing him go for that early aggression there, and that will be something interesting indeed. That's if they send players over there, and at the moment it looks like it's only going to be Som, and he's not even progressing that far. So he manages to avoid all penalties by chucking a flash out, and the rest of FM dodge it completely. It's another clean opening by them. HUDG taking a little bit of damage, being the only real thing that's gone on. And they're at such an advantage right now. Maybe not in health, maybe not in players, but in weapons, there is every sense they are in the advantage. And realistically, they should be able to smash through this. Crucial, though, going to be the first man up. Seeing what he can do with the M4, and he does manage to start things off onto Som. So maybe Reason with a little bit more of a chance we thought, but as I say that, there is going to be a push coming in towards B, and it's going to be up to Connor with the Deagle to come up big, and indeed he does. 3 frags for him, and he manages to leave it in a 1 versus 2 situation for his team. Sorry, 1 versus 3 situation for his team. If they don't pull this one out the bag, if they don't tie things up here, something has gone horribly wrong, as Neil Zeno doesn't even have the bomb down yet.
No, he doesn't, and it's HUDG. He got taken down by a teammate to less than half HP with a knife, which hasn't set him up in the best position. But that strategy just didn't work. I'm not quite sure really what they're going for, but a fast commit into B was probably a little bit of throwing it away, if anything, with the way that they went about that one, which is a bit of a disappointing one for them. And from what could have been a golden opportunity to bring this map home, I think they're thrown away by. Oh, if that was a tactical pause, plus a bit of a comfort break, then they didn't really cook up anything all that exciting. It was pretty much, oh, right, should we just go in through that pipe in the B and see what happens, lads? And they pretty much said yes and went with it, and unsurprisingly, it didn't work. And they're now, one, they haven't got, 1 round away from map point, and 2, they're facing a double AWP set from Baith and Weber, so they're going to be able to get in some nice little angles and probably get mid control with one of those. And yes, it's crazy. And FM maybe didn't do themselves any service by putting a slow start into this thing, and now right at the death they potentially put themselves up against it. But Fry opening into the site is taken down 2, and Weber with the AWP, he's on super low HP, he's going to get caught straight away. Fry's on a 3k, and what a time for this to happen. Crucial now trying to come in, he gets 1, but he's traded instantly from behind. Fry, Stan and Som And the 3 players left alive, and they're going to bring this thing back, and that nade is perfect. Fry, the 3k hero, catches that one straight on the site. 2v1, both of the orb, and if they can get this plant down, they've just got to sit in, make sure they don't expose themselves. Don't be tempted to jump across and get into short, and that's a perfect Molotov.
I mean, Baif doesn't want to give this up. You can see Reason are so loath to go into overtime here. I'm sure he wants to leave. I'm sure his team is screaming at him in TeamSpeak. Just keep going for it. See if you can find that pick. And indeed, he's going to be doing just that. He's seeing what he can get done, crawling through the smoke. But unfortunately for him, Stanley has the angle and manages to find the frag. So it is going to be FM pulling themselves to match point, pulling themselves to 15 rounds. And me wondering why Baif went for that. I know they might not have wanted to go into overtime, but a 2 versus 1 with an AWP. And now it's match point for FM, and they're in a bit of an awkward situation. I think you know something's gone wrong with the team when a PP Bison gets bought.
Yeah, that's a sign that you might have done something wrong. And Fry straight away gets both. He tries to get a little bit aggressive. They're trying to go for the same kind of thing that failed for FM. Get aggressive on the CT side. Try and push these angles. Try and cut down the map. And you know, if you get picked off like that, all it's doing is giving you some serious problems. You do not want to be a man down when it comes to trading on CT side. On terrorist